Hi, my name is Cindy and the name of my shop is Molasses Creek Woodcraft. Welcome. I'm back today with part 2 of my build of a Traditions mini old Ironsides cannon in Walnut. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I will add a link to it in the comments below. I left off part 1 having just completed a dry fit of all the parts. This is the picture shown here. Today I'm going to sand and finish the walnut parts, and then I'm going to deal with all of the metal pieces and the cannon barrel. I'm going to prep them by soda blasting and polishing them, and then I'm going to blue them with Birchwood KC Permablue. Finally, I'm going to assemble it, and we'll take a look at the completed Traditions mini old Ironsides cannon built with walnut. So let's get started. And real quickly, we're just going to look at all of the parts after the disassembly of the dry fit. Now the pieces were pretty smooth from coming out of my planer, so I'm just going to begin sanding with the 180 grit sandpaper. Some of the pieces are going to get sanded on my 1-inch band sander. And some of the pieces are going to get sanded on a disc sander. And I'm going to go back to the 1-inch band sander to shape and sand the hubcaps. And then I'm going to finish sanding by hand to smooth over some of those sharp edges. For finishing, I'm just going to apply a coat of Osmo Poly-X oil to all of the pieces. This is like my favorite finish because it goes on so easily. And then I'm just going to show you an overview of all of the pieces after I've applied the Osmo to all of them. And this is how I will leave them set overnight to dry. So when it comes to bluing, let me just start off by saying I have zero experience with Permablue. So I'm going to be learning right along with you. So we have the Permablue, some denatured alcohol, a lot of baking soda, our respirator mask and safety glasses, a brush and some cotton swabs, and some Scotch-Brite pads. So these are all the smaller pieces I'm going to be bluing, and just to make it easier for me to handle them, I've mounted them all into a scrap piece of plywood. And I've also used plywood and a dowel to give myself something so that I could hold on to the barrel. I'm just using baking soda to soda blast these. I don't need anything real aggressive for these, and I don't have any kind of spray booth, so I'm just opening up my trash can and spraying all that baking soda into my trash can. I'll let the trash people worry about what all the white powder in the trash can is. And after soda blasting everything, I'm going to sand it with some 600 grit sandpaper. Now the instructions say to use steel wool, but I didn't have any, that's why I'm using sandpaper. And then I'm going to degrease everything with denatured alcohol. And after degreasing, I'm going to rinse everything off with clean water. And then to help everything dry off, I'm just going to hit it with the air compressor. And then I'm going to start applying the PermaBlue with a cotton tip swab. And the instructions say to leave the PermaBlue on for about a minute and then rinse it off with clean water. Then I'm going to dry everything again with the air compressor. And I will polish the pieces again with some 600 grit sandpaper. And this is what they all look like after the first coat of PermaBlue, and I did go through and do the whole procedure again to give them a second coat. And the barrel is going to be treated the same way. First, I'm going to degrease it with denatured alcohol. And I just rinsed it off with water in the sink, so now I'm drying it with the air compressor. And I'm using the brush to start applying PermaBlue to the barrel. And this is the barrel with PermaBlue covering the whole thing. So after a minute, I rinsed it off with water and dried it, and I'm just buffing it out with a Scotch-Brite pad. And I'm going to apply a second coat of PermaBlue. And this is what it looks like finishing off that second coat of PermaBlue. Now the instructions say when you're done to apply a coating of anti-rust, so I'm using T9 Bow Shield, and I'm just going to spray the heck out of all of these parts with the Bow Shield. And I'm also going to spray the cannon barrel with the Bow Shield. I'm just spraying it into my trash can because I've learned that having overspray from Bow Shield on the floor of my shop is not real great for walking. And the instructions say to leave them sit overnight. So they're all drenched in bow shield, and that's how they're going to sit overnight. So the next morning I came out and I wiped all of that excess bow shield off of everything. And this is how they look after 2 coats of permablue and sitting overnight in the bow shield. And I have to say, I think they all turned out way better than I expected they would. So now it's time for the final assembly. And the first part is to pound the T-nut for the elevating screw into the rear axle. And then screw the elevating screw into that T-nut. Then you insert the elevating cross brace into the 2 side plates. And you flip it upside down and you attach the front and rear axles using the axle screws. And then you screw in the side washers using the ice screws. Then you attach the barrel using the barrel bridles and the bridle screws. And finally attach the wheels. I'm using tight bond speed set on the wheels, and I'm trying to be real careful just to keep it on the ends. I don't want any squeeze out getting on the wheels because I still want the wheels to turn. After letting that glue set, I went ahead and added some rope to the cannon. I thought that would make it look just a little bit more authentic. And we will take a 360-degree look at the completed cannon. Now, of course, you cannot build a black powder cannon without shooting your black powder cannon. So there will be a part 3 to this series where we will go out and shoot this. In the meantime, as always, thank you very much for watching.